Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for joining me over on Matt's Indie Book Club. If you like today's video, please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel where you won't want to miss some of the interviews I have coming up, as well as monthly book recommendations. Also, the more the channel grows, the more I can do these wonderful interviews with my indie author friends and my new friends. Today, I'm joined by Michael Smalls. We're going to be talking about his writing habits, hobbies, his book series, which is also set as a standalone, Kuro-Sil, the Book of Humans, Reptiles, and Gods. Michael, thank you for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
Introduce yourself to everybody a little bit.
All right. I don't know. There's not much I can really say. I'm just a guy who has been kind of like struggling along for the last, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with myself. Like for a long time, like when I was a teenager getting through high school, I love video games, and I once tried to be a video game programmer, wanted to work for Nintendo at some point, even took a Japanese class, in a Japanese language class, that is, because I thought I would work with Nintendo and want to understand the language a little bit better, but that never really followed through. But I always wanted to be I guess I wanted to have like a story. I had a story in my mind that I wanted to tell, and I just one day when I was in a video games programming school before I dropped out, I just started opening up a Word document and just wrote down my ideas that I've had in my head for many years, and just decided to go from there.
I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's the important thing. We just got to get started, and then just see what happens. You never know. You never know what could come of an idea. Tell us a bit about Kuro-Sil.
All right, if you don't mind me, it's called Kuro-Sil, but
I apologize.
That's fine. Know that. Don't mind me for being a little bit. Hope you don't mind me being a little bit of a perfectionist or a bit too picky on that. But
look, it's my series. Our books are our babies. All right,
yeah.
We bring these ideas into the world, and not everybody understands them like we do. So sometimes it's warranted.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
All right, so I've got the book right here, so I guess I could show it off. So This is Kuro-Sil, the Book of Humans, Reptiles, and God. It's set in the distant future of 5027, like 3,000 years over 3,000 years into our future, where humanity is at war with this reptilian race of aliens called the Reptiles. There's this one boy named Orrin Hawkins who despite all reasoning, believes that there's good in the Reptiles and wants to be their friends. And he happens to be taken to their world, but managed to be rescued by two noble members of the race. There's this disgraced soldier named Korba, and there's a young noble prince named Tyrion, and their pet named Burke. And they just go on various adventures, helping this underground rebellion to try to rescue humans from the reptilian oppression, just to show that both humans and the aliens can work together under.
That sounds like a wonderful series, to be honest. That's kind of right up my alley.
Yeah, it's a young adult sci-fi series, so it's not like something like super cerebral or anything. It's not got any like the science babble or stuff that you see in stuff like Star Trek. It's more like a Star Wars type of thing with a lot of inspirations from a lot of other stuff. Very taking inspirations from like Avatar, The Last Airbender, like has some crazy over the top battle sequences from various anime shows like One Piece. I'm a big One Piece fan, so and some even some inspirations, at least in my mind, in terms of like how I'd imagine like the music and the scenarios to go through from various video games, and also like character interactions from, say, like video games like the Persona series, which I like for how the characters bond with each other, and the Xenoblade Chronicles series for their just grand epic music. I imagine the music being something along that kind of level. But yeah, just take a lot of inspirations that try to mesh it into this one big idea.
Right.
And just for any audience members, this book right here, this is a standalone book set in my series. So it's set in a little bit in the time where these main characters already know each other. So this is a book that can be read on its own without having to read any other books. Although I do have a full series coming out. I'm working on the next book right now, which will be the true beginning of the series. But this is something that you can read on its own without having to worry about anything else.
With being self-published, what has been your experience with that? What are a few pros and cons?
The biggest pro I can think of is that I own all the rights to my story. I'm not having to worry about any publisher demands or any strict time deadlines that I have to meet. The only deadline I'm working on for this next book is my own. I'm trying to get it done before the end of the year. I hope I can edit it quickly enough, but I'm almost done with that draft. But overall, like the best pro is that I have the main rights to my thing. The biggest con I could say is that trying to market my book is really frustrating, really big of a struggle. I can't really focus on so many things at the same time, especially when I'm in the middle of writing. I'm just focusing on writing as much as I can, and all that marketing stuff is kind of an afterthought at the moment. I hope to do more once I'm done with this draft, but it's a big struggle on that front. I'm not good with any of that kind of stuff. Never have been.
I'll be honest with you. That is, as a fellow indie author, and I work for a smaller book publisher. It is a struggle, no matter what you write in, no matter how many books you've written. In today's day and age, if you're not backed by a giant publishing house, it is a struggle because you have to balance, like you said, you have to write it, you have to edit it, you have to format it. You have to either do the cover yourself or find somebody to do it. It takes a lot out of you. So just you're not alone in that aspect. Trust me.
That's good. I have some good people I'm working with to help me like I get this into the right audience that I want it to, but still not there yet. Just hope it can pop off very soon. Like I really hope that this series could be like a next big like YA hit. And hopefully when I say YA young adult stuff, that doesn't like trigger any sort of bad response for people, because young adult stories kind of have a bad rap in some cases, but this is not like any that other stuff that it's just like pure adventure, just with like a lot of heart and humor. Like no tropes of like say like dystopian and sci-fi setting, or there's a little bit of like humanity is at the brink of collapse or extinction, but nothing like say Hunger Games or like any of, not that there's anything wrong. I like the Hunger Games, but other things like try to piggyback off of that franchise.
Yeah, it's good that you went your own direction though and followed your instinct on it, because sometimes the only way to get to that next place, as you said, is to do it exactly to the letter how you imagined it, how you want to do it. Because after all, if we're not happy with our own books, it's going to show when we try to market them, when we do interviews for them. So it's important that no matter if you're self-publishing, if you're publishing with somebody else, to be 100% truly happy with it, or take it back until you are, and then try it again, because people will be able to see that there's not a lot of enthusiasm for this. Hey, they just don't seem like they're that into their own book. So it's definitely a good thing. Was there a particular character that you found that you enjoyed writing the most? If so, why was that?
I have a lot of characters that I really like writing for. So yeah, well, I definitely like writing the young boy character, the main character Orin. Is fun, just giving him like trying to make this series kind of a world that expands. Like he's kind of like a entryway, like a little like everyman type character, say like something like Harry Potter, where like he's experienced the world alongside the readers. That's what Orin is there for. Right. But I think my favorites I really like writing for are a lot of the Reptools. I just have very distinct personalities for all of them, and I especially love writing for the villains. Like the villains are a lot of fun to. I have this whole like one of my main villains are this group of elite soldiers known as the Garathal, led by this guy right up here named Kroll. Like you only see his face here, but you can already see like the kind of menace he carries. And I have like he has 7 direct minions under him, and I have a really fun time fleshing them out. I don't know if I fleshed them out as well in this book, but I've definitely started doing a lot more with my next one coming up. But yeah, I really like writing for these characters because there's like just have like very strong ideas for these personalities that I like working for. I don't know if that's the best answer, but like trying to make them alien, but also try to make them feel very likable and relatable in a way.
Right. And that's good though, because you're making each one of you unique. You're making it so each character has a leg to stand on when entering the story. So there's not just they don't just kind of all blend in together when they're in the background, aside from like your main character. So yeah, that definitely did answer it. Whether you feel like it did or not, that did answer it because all is a good answer, especially when you really enjoy working on a project and you really enjoy writing it and spending the time with it. It shows in the character development for sure.
Yeah.
Would you say you are more of a plotter or a pantser? Do you plan everything out, or do you just like, I'm just gonna write and see what happens?
I'd say I'm a plotter. The way I started writing this book was that I just started outlining the whole ideas because I had certain ideas in my head and I didn't want to just like make it up as I went along in terms of like, say, writing the actual novel. So I just spent like about 3 years trying to write an outline for an overall series. And while there are some ideas like, well, funny enough, this book here was not actually part of my original plan. My original plan was this. My next project was something I wrote in 2019. This started in development a year later in 2020, but this was not part of that original plan. So this was kind of a pantser type thing. But most of my main plot is I want to try plotting it out and try to write like deep lore and like backgrounds for like this world of the reptilian characters called the Reptools. I want to make them have like deep lore and like deep history and interesting personalities, and like I also want to try developing a language for them, kind of like say Klingon or something from Star Trek.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of like a mix. Like I'm open to trying to experiment on certain things. Like the ending I have in mind for this next book that I'm writing on might change a little bit from what I originally planned, just to make it because my ideas for like the overall ending for the ending of this next book maybe a little dark, so I want to try to lightening up a bit with who I included. And I'm not going to say anything for what it is right now, but
yeah. What is the best piece of writing advice that you've ever received?
I think right now is probably just best writing advice is probably just like, I don't know, just like telling me to just like trust my instincts and just to go with it. When I first started writing the Kuro-Sil series, I'm always a bit of a perfectionist. I kind of am still now. Like I'm kind of in a little rut in where I am currently at the plot right now. But what I think the biggest thing is just try to trust your gut instinct and just go with the flow, because that's always been holding me back in the day. Like when I first started writing my original project, it took me months to just write 3 chapters. And now like I started writing my next project back in November of 2024. And I've just been going full throttle and writing it. I've written about 38, 39 chapters since then. And just been going, like the plot has just been so much more clear in my head, especially since I've had it in my mind for so long. And just going full throttle, trying to finish this thing has been just like, I don't know, just like that's my main point is just trust your instinct and just to keep going and don't try to look back. That's also another thing. Just like, don't try to look back, because I've always been trying to go back and try to make things perfect in my own head as much as I can, but that always just ends up keeping me held back.
Right. Yeah, that'll do that sometimes. I mean, I do that to myself. When my first book that came out, I had it was accepted by a new editor or a new publisher, and I was like, oh, they were formatting it and they sent it to me to look over, and I was like, do you mind if I take this back and rewrite the whole ending? And they're like, sure. I'm like, yes. I'm like, because this head doesn't sit well with me right at this moment, and I'm really glad I did, because it turned out a little bit better. But that's not always something that you want to embark on. Outside of writing, what are a few of your favorite hobbies?
Don't really have too many hobbies at the moment. The biggest one I've had in the past, like it was with obviously video gaming. Like I've been playing video games pretty much since I was like 3 or 4 years old. Can't remember the exact date. Although I haven't been playing a whole lot of video games right now because writing is just taking up so much of my time, which I'm honestly glad for, because I really want to make this a thing.
Right.
I do have other stuff that I'm open to doing. Any other stuff I do, like if I have the time, I'll try to find time to work out. Haven't really done a whole lot lately since writing, and maybe going on drives or walks.
Just being outside and being active kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's also good for the brain too. It allows you to kind of stop and put the writing out of your mind, which can sometimes be helpful because you'll get home and you'll be like, wait a second, I figured it out. And then you can get back to it. Do you have a favorite go-to snack or beverage that you like when you're writing?
No, I mean, I do eat snacks, but I don't really have any on hand when I'm doing stuff.
No,
If
no
I'm at
favorites.
if I'm at a coffee shop, I might get like maybe something from there, like I don't know, maybe like an egg sausage, McMuffin or like type of thing, or just a coffee. Yeah, snacks. I don't know. I might like some goldfish crackers or any.
Right. Yeah, I always like to ask people that because I find it interesting just with the wide variety of answers that I always seem to receive. Because some folks are like, oh man, I have to have my coffee and my water. And other people are like, I'm impartial. And then some people are like, yeah, only water. I only have water at my desk. So I like to throw that in there because it's a fun little question for just to see what people's responses are. Would you say you're the kind of person that has to have it completely quiet when you're writing, or do you like to have music or something on in the background, or what do you prefer to do?
I guess I tend to prefer quiet, although I will sometimes listen to maybe some music or a podcast while writing. I have been going out to coffee shops and libraries. I think I work best when I'm out of the house because although I do distract myself when I'm at other places, it tends to be a little bit less and I focus a little bit more when I'm outside of my house with all my distractions here.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I definitely get that. It
yeah,
can be sometimes you just have to get outside of the normal space to make that good chunk of progress that you've been
yeah,
wanting to do.
yeah. So I don't really
Um,
mind too much the noise that comes from coffee shops or even libraries sometimes. But
right.
yeah.
Before we end off here today, do you have any signings or events or anything coming up that you'd like to share with everybody?
Well, actually, yes, I do. In fact, on this Saturday, May 24th, I am going to be in Tacoma for this book fair. It's just called the Tacoma Book Fair. I don't know too much about it. It's waterfront market at Ruston, so I'll be there or for the whole day on May 24th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I guess that's how it will go. So there's that. I'm looking for various other venues I can go to and be a part of.
Right. Well, you guys can catch him there. You heard him in Tacoma at the waterfront. If you want to check out his book or keep up with him on socials, I will have all of those linked below. I encourage you to go check out his book and just see what he's up to and keep up with the work that is upcoming. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Matt.
Of course. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.